Hey Virgo, what's going on? I hope that you guys are doing well. Welcome. If you are new here, my name is Violetta Alexis, and I have been a tarot reader for 5 years. If you are not new here, glad to have you back. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the harsh truth that you may need to hear, whether you'd like to or not. So if you don't want to, go ahead and just click right off. We're going to be taking a look at what you want to believe. So maybe the lie that you're telling yourself. Then we're going to take a look at the reality check, which can just simply be the raw truth that you're avoiding, the consequence if you ignore it, and then we're going to see the way out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see. Show me the lie that Virgo is telling themselves. Show me the lie. The Seven of Swords. Ooh, I'm getting like a paranoid or a very suspicious energy. Tell me more. Tell me more. What is the lie that Virgo is telling themselves? The Queen of Swords. Very like protective. High Priestess reverse. A little paranoid maybe. The Three of Cups reversed. I think that you have a problem with people. Maybe people have a problem with you, right? The Tower, the Queen of Pentacles, Nine of Swords. I feel like there's some kind of paranoia. I was kind of saying that earlier off of that Seven of Swords. I was like, I feel like they're a little paranoid. It's almost as if you feel the need to be overprotective of yourself. Um, and for whatever reason, maybe you've been through trauma, maybe you've been through some hardship, maybe you've been through some really rough trials and tribulations, whatever the case is. However, I think that you may believe that you have truth around a specific person, around a group of people, around people who come and go in your life or whatever. But I think a lot of it is wrapped up in a nice, pretty bow called hypervigilance. It can be that you tend to logisticize things as opposed to actually listen to your intuition. So when we're not listening to that little nudge and we're trying to make sense of what that is, we're ignoring the most natural part of us, that part of us that's built in, that natural intuition that's not like a loud speaker in your ear. It's like a gentle nudge telling you that something isn't right or that something is. And so I think that for a lot of you, I think that a lack of trust is involved. I think that there's a lot of avoiding people. I think there's a lot of kind of isolation energy going on. And hey, more power to you. I get it. And you're telling yourself that you're in your right mind to do this. Okay. So if this is bred from trauma, what happens is when we're in a hypervigilant state or, our brain has essentially tried to protect us. It tries to protect us so it starts to notice things more. It starts to develop better pattern recognition. And so sometimes it can be so hypervigilant where it's on constant fight or flight, especially if you've had a chaotic life, that you're looking so much for the exit or you're looking so much for where it's not safe that you sometimes start to create scenarios that are not necessarily there. And I think it is because you've had your foundation shaken up, your sense of stability. You've probably had a lot of stress that's happened, a lot of changes that you likely weren't ready for. And so now there's this avoidance, or there's this avoiding people or avoiding conversation, maybe. And you tell yourself that it's coming from a logical place, that it makes sense. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it may be like over the top. Tell me about that High Priestess reverse. Tell me about that High Priestess reverse for Virgo. It's almost like who done it? You know, kind of like Murder, She Wrote kind of vibe. Ace of Swords reversed. Yeah, I feel like you have a lot of assumptions about people with that Page of Swords reverse, King of Pentacles. Because I feel like some people have really good intentions with you, and I think that you do try to logisticize it, and you're doing it probably out of a protective mechanism or a defense mechanism. And this is where discernment comes in, right? This is where discernment comes in. Tell me about that Seven of Swords. Like, don't get me wrong, Virgo. I think that you're very smart, but I think that you believe you are more balanced than you actually are, like mentally. Seven of Swords is being clarified by the Seven of Wands reversed. It's fear. It's fear, it's defensiveness, you know. And I mean, the thing about the Seven of Swords, it's Moon in Aquarius, and so there is an emotional attachment to trying to take care of everybody, so to speak, or worrying about the greater collective. And the Queen of Swords is Libra, so it's also more about we, less about I. And I think that you probably are naturally like that, but you've gotten to a point in your life where you tend to like avoid people or cut people out really, really quick. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but I think some of it is taken a bit too far. Okay. And a lot of you guys are saying like, oh, it's justified, right? You guys might be one of those kinds of people where like, oh, you fuck up once, bye, right? Goodbye, bye. Um, and I was like that. I was like that. But sometimes you got to keep them close because you don't really know all the time. Okay. And I'm not saying that you don't know about some people. Don't get me wrong, you know, but you may be taking things a little too far where it doesn't really need to go. I think that you're missing out on a lot of great opportunities because of it as well. But you're telling yourself that you're right. Cuz imagine, right? Like imagine that you really like somebody, okay? And you know, you're just trying to impress them or whatever. And then maybe you say something just like slip of the tongue, or you say something that maybe you were just trying to show off and you didn't really mean it. You know, maybe you're just nervous or whatever. And like this person that you really, really like ends up cutting you off and telling you to F off. And it's like, you know, human beings do make mistakes. It doesn't mean that you should constantly be forgiving people or not utilize your sense of discernment. But once again, I do think there's a bit of an extreme. Like I'm seeing the temperance, like the temperance reversed kind of, or like something like that. So let's see the reality check. So this is like kind of the raw truth that you're avoiding. The Six of Swords reversed. I feel like you live in the past a lot. You know, I think that you relive a lot of memories that feel uneasy for you, that likely felt like mental torture or psychological torture, right? And I think that you focus on that a lot. And it keeps bringing you back there. And I think that you guys probably are somebody who's really good with pattern recognition. And so you may be a person where someone does something and you're like, oh, seen that before, you know, and that's okay. Like that's what our brains are supposed to do. But once again, I feel like it's taken to the extreme, but you're telling yourself that it's justified when I don't know if it always is. Oh, I just don't need all those cards. Oh my goodness. Okay. Tell me the raw truth they're avoiding. The Four of Cups reversed. Okay, I don't want all. Damn, it's giving me a lot of cards. I just don't want to take that many. I'm sorry. I love you guys, but I just don't want that many. Okay, the Four of Swords. I heard healing is hard. Okay. I feel like you guys isolate. King of Wands reversed. Oh my God, no freaking way. Look at the bottom of the deck. Temperance reversed. Trying to tell you. Trying to tell you, baby. There's a focus a lot on the past, and then you try to resolve it in the best way you know how, just like we all do, through isolation. And I feel like a lot of it is to protect yourselves, to protect something fragile within you. Some of you, it was because of a masculine figure in your life that really hurt you. You know, some of you may have had issues around addictions or overdoing it in some way in your life. I definitely feel like there's a lack of balance in your life somewhere. And I feel like it is a bit of overdoing it in regards to isolation, because isolation can sometimes be the resolve, especially if we feel like we're needing to focus a little bit more on self-awareness. But in this regard, I don't think that you can use isolation to solve everything. You know, you can't just like avoid, avoid, avoid. And it's so funny because I was getting avoidance from Capricorn as well, but in a different way. That's really weird. Tell me about that Six of Swords reverse. I wonder who that King of Wands is. The Wheel of Fortune reverse. It's a repetitive cycle that you do this, because by like focusing on your past, it's almost as if you believe that you can control the present by doing that, because of some kind of pattern, because of cycles. If it happened then, it can happen again. But you have a lot more control over your life than you think. And I don't think like shutting yourself out or shutting everyone out is really going to do it for you. Speaking of the Hermit, there you are. Or I guess I was thinking about the Hermit in my mind because we were talking about isolation. Whoa. Did the internet just like stop working? Okay, great. Love that for me. Anyway, this is still recording, so that's good. Um, so let's go ahead and take a look at the consequence if you ignore it. The Six of Cups. I feel like you're missing out on creating a lot of happy memories and you don't even realize it. Like, there's so much fun to be had. There's so much passion that you can have in your life. There's so much passion that you can create, you know? And I kind of feel like, look at this. I feel like you're kind of running from it a little bit. You're going to end up, it's funny because Capricorn got this card with the Knight of Swords and the Eight of Swords. You're going to constantly find yourself stuck in your mind, always looking for answers, always looking for answers. Like, it could lead to freaking like psychosis, or like, you know, we're being super dramatic, or it can lead to a lot of mental health issues to live this way. And I think that you're really robbing yourself from a lot of joy and fun and spontaneity and creating memories. And like, you know, God bless you, man. I think it's just because a lot has happened in your life. I feel like the more that you kind of allow these experiences to inspire you, because like this is the thing, right? If you've been through a lot of trauma, you've been through a lot of trials and tribulations, you've learned a lot. You've likely learned a lot about people, society, yourself, whatever, how to deal with conflict, how to resolve things, etc. And maybe like self-medicate, you know, who knows, but you've learned a lot, and now it's time to like put those qualities to use, put those qualities to work, because you went through these things for a reason, right? So let's see the way out of this. What is the way out for Virgo? The Queen of Wands reversed. Okay, the Knight of Pentacles reversed. I feel like a lot of you, like, people's opinions in your life may have affected you a great deal. And I think that you guys may care more about people's opinions than you may like to let on, or maybe a specific person's opinion. But once you're able to cut through that and understand that, yes, other people's opinions matter, but the one that matters the most is you. And that opinion of yourself is going to dictate your life, your inner thought process, the way that you think about yourself is kind of controlling your life, whether for better or for worse. I think that a lot of you just didn't feel supported. It almost feels like a scapegoat, or like you've been ostracized, or didn't feel really like you belong in some kind of way. And I feel like this is a reckoning. This is no longer where you're looking back at the past and you're just so focused on it and you can't unwrap your head around what has happened, and that what has happened is going to happen now and it's going to happen again and again and again. And instead, it's being accountable for how you got there. Now, some things are not our fault. They're out of our control. And that's something that we have to understand, not feel guilty about, and try to heal and move on from. But those wounds, kind of like Chiron in your chart, that is where your power is. That's where your power is located, is in those wounds, in those things that we try not to look at. And just because you haven't been supported in your life does not mean that you won't be. But I feel like it really starts with you, because there's truly a lack of confidence here. You may have been dimming your own shine, dimming your own light by hiding away, tucking yourself away, when I feel like you're needing to go out there. Show your ass, not literally. Don't come looking for it. Look, prosperity lies ahead, new moon in Taurus. Okay. You got your earth sign sister here with Virgo. You, Virgo, you. Prosperity lies ahead for you. Slow and steady wins the race, one foot in front of the other. I really feel like on the other side of the door of the thing that you're afraid of, or the thing that you're avoiding, is where that prosperity is. Whether that's prosperous friendships, prosperity in regards to money, whatever it may be. So this is about you. Stop dimming your shine, stop dimming your light, and stop hiding. Okay. So, Virgo, that is what I have for you. Thank you guys so much. I do hope that you will like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you would like to book a personal reading, you can visit my website at violettaalexis.com. If you're into poetry, you can go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's called Where Dead Flowers Bloom. All that information is in the description box below. Thanks a lot, Virgo, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.